Following topics will be covered in this video: teen depression, dealing with difficult teens, bullying, and gaming addiction. Teen depression is a serious mental health problem that causes persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest in activities. It affects how your teenagers think, feel, behaves, and it can cause emotional, functional, and physical problems. Although depression can occur at any time in life, symptoms may be different from teens to adults and individual to individual. It affects how your teenager thinks, feels, behaves, and it can cause emotional, functional, and physical problems. Issues such as peer pressure, academic expectation, and changing bodies can bring a lot of ups and downs in the teens. It's not known exactly what causes depression, but a variety of issues may be involved. These include brain chemistry, hormones, inherited traits, early childhood traumas, and learned patterns of negative thinking. Signs and symptoms of depression: mood swings, lack of emotions, self harm, trouble concentrating, low self esteem, drastic changes in appetite and weight, constantly having negative views on life and the world, sleeping too much or little, lack of energy and fatigue, inability to feel happy. If you're wondering if you may have depression, ask yourself these questions. Do you consistently feel sad, anxious, or feel like nothing? Do you feel hopeless or like everything is going wrong? Do you feel like you're worthless or helpless? Do you feel guilty about things? Do you feel irritable? Do you find yourself spending more time alone and withdrawing from family and friends? Are your grades dropping? Have you lost interest or pleasure in activities and hobbies that you used to enjoy? Have your eating or sleeping habits changed? Do you always feel tired, like you have less energy than normal or no energy at all? Do you feel restless or have trouble sitting still? Do you feel like you have trouble concentrating, remembering information, or making decisions? It is usually treated with psychotherapy, medication, or a combination of the two. Stay active, meditation helps. Try doing a lot of high intensity workouts. Try to keep a regular sleep schedule. Spend time with family and friends and take feedback from them at regular intervals about your progress. Well, the first step would be just to listen to them and make them feel that they are worth listening to. Be supportive, patient, and encouraging, even if you don't fully understand what's going on. Remind your loved ones that getting help is important and that with time and treatment, they will feel better. Well, if you're self diagnosing yourself or your friend, the first step would be to reach out to a trusted adult and then visit a mental health professional immediately.
Adolescence, or the terrible teens as we call it, is a period of change. It is a period of growing up. Children from being children become adults by the end of it. And it involves physical changes, psychological changes, social changes. It is considered to be one of the toughest period in a person's life. And it is sometimes equally tough for the parents to handle teenagers. Now, statistics show that 75% of children scale through this phase very easily. They have no problem. They just gel with this whole change. They just take to it and there is no problem at all. But 25% children do go through some or other psychological stress and a change of behavior, and they do appear a bit troubled, And it's very important at that time for parents to understand that, to be equipped to handle a difficult teen. So in this video, we would see the most common problems that parents face with regards to teenagers and how it has to be coped up. Now, the first thing that we hear all the time is that teenagers are very argumentative. They back answer. They cannot be dominated. They cannot be told what to do. They don't care. And they are into themselves, you know. So parents feel very left out. You know, few years back, these kids were kind of, leeching on to parents. They needed the parents all the time. And suddenly, this teen doesn't want them around. He gets short-tempered if parents try to go very close. So, parents feel quite lost. Now, I would like to tell the parents here that, a teenager is building up his personality. He's building up his self-esteem to face the world. He has a mind of his own. He's learning constantly. Whatever experiences he goes through outside the world leaves a mark on him, and he learns something from it. So his personality is being built, and he doesn't like anyone telling him what to do all the time, because he's not a child anymore. He doesn't feel like a child anymore. So the basic advice I would say the basic suggestion that I would give the parents is to basically respect a teenager. Even if he's not right, give him his space. If he's getting argumentative, just back off. Let him be. You tell him once or twice, he doesn't listen, then it is a time to sit and have a chat with him. Understand his point of view in the same matter. We call it as respectful negotiation. That is what you have to do with the teen. That if he doesn't want to listen to you, then there is a why. So don't get into a fight with a teenager, because you're only encouraging that argumentative behavior of his. Whenever a teen is getting into a big argumentative, just back off. Take a time off. Just say that we will discuss it later in the day. And when he's calm and when you're calm, just pick up the matter again and speak to the teenager, saying what was his point of view. So empathization, that is putting yourself in the other person's shoes and thinking, and listening skills, patience, tolerance, and respect, acceptance. This is what we need to practice with argumentative teenagers. And if you see that a teenager is extremely short-tempered, so I always say that he's not an angry child, he's a sad child. The sadness is expressed through anger. So to deal with an argumentative, back answering teen, you just have to calm down. Remember that you are the adult in the relationship and he is the child. So you are more mature. Maturity has to be expected from the parent, not the teen. Because most of the teens come and complain to me that my parents don't understand me. Now, how do you understand a teen? You understand a teen by listening to a teen. You don't understand someone by giving a lecture. You understand when you listen. So be a listener. Ask open-ended questions. How are you feeling? What is your experience of life right now? Why are you behaving in a certain way? Why this change? You were not like this few years back. What happened to you that you're hurting me again and again? These are the questions that need to be triggered at that moment so that the teen calms down and is compelled to think, why is he behaving like this? And maybe express. So you will feel close to the teen. You will feel there will be an intimacy in the relationship. A friendly bond will form. And maybe the teen will calm down and have more patience to explain instead of arguing. Now, another problems that parents face with teenagers is that friends become their priority. They don't like to be at home. They come back from school, go down to play, and then they don't come home until it is dinner time. They just don't want to come home until they are summoned. So parents don't find them at home at all. They want to be with their friends all the time. And then there is a personality change. They suddenly start following fashion. They're not happy with the clothes that you buy them. They would want to wear fashionable clothes. They would want to have the best gadget, the most expensive mobile with them. And on the later age, teenagers, they do weird things like growing up hair, making a ponytail, or putting a bandana. You will see all kind of weird personality changes in teenagers, and some of them in extreme cases even take to smoking and drugs and drinking also. So what is the reason that a सीधा साधा घर का बच्चा who was eating home food and being with the mummy all the time now doesn't want to do that anymore? He just wants to eat pizzas. He wants to just be outside. He wants to experience the outside world all the time. So parents in these kind of situations need not get very disturbed, because understand that it's a passing phase. As I told you, this is the time when teenagers are building their self-esteem. They are building their self-worth. So this is a part of that process, because the self-esteem a teenager does not get it at home. He gets it from his peer group. He gets it from his friends. So peer group acceptance becomes more crucial for a teenager than parental acceptance. A teenager will do anything to get accepted in his friend circle. So if being fashionable gives him status, he will do that. If carrying an expensive mobile gives him a good prestige in his friend circle, he's going to do that. If playing a certain game, scoring goals or scoring runs in a cricket gives him that acceptance, that importance, that attention, he's going to do that. So he will do anything to be accepted by his friends. He doesn't want to be ignored by them. He doesn't want to be outcasted by his friends, because that is where his self-confidence is building. He's becoming a somebody from a nobody when he's surrounded by his friends. So that is the challenge that he's enjoying. So if a teenager is trying to be a little conscious of his looks, if he doesn't want a normal mobile and he wants a little expensive gadget, if he's trying to change his language, trying to be more happening with his words, please understand that it is a process. It is a transition. Once his personality is built, once he becomes confident about himself, once he develops that self-worth that I am somebody, I'm just not an ordinary guy, I am a smart person. Once he builds that feeling about himself, he will just become normal. These things are not going to stay with him forever. So again, parents need to be patient. Keep a close watch on your teenager so that he's not going into any extreme. Girls start getting conscious of their looks. They start putting makeup. They start going to beauty parlors. They want to look good all the time. So parents have to just observe them closely. As long as they are not falling into any abnormal behavior, it's fine. Let them build a personality. What is wrong in girl being fashionable? Or what is wrong if a boy likes to play football up to 9:30 in the night? Why do you have to put a rule on that child saying come home by 7 o'clock and start studying, doing your homework just the way he did when I was in his 4th standard? It doesn't happen that way. As long as his friends are going to be playing outside, he is going to be playing outside. He is not going to listen to you. So he will do everything that his friends are doing. As simple as that. So all you parents should do is, again, let them be. Don't give them lectures. Don't scold them too much. Just observe. If they are, not able to balance their studies along with all this, then that is where you have to intervene. Or if they are showing any abnormal trait, too much of anything is bad. So draw a line, just draw a line. Until that line, let them do whatever they want. And just them be happy. What is the point in frustrating a teenager? What is the point in, giving them lectures all the time saying this is not right, this is not wrong? Teens don't understand ethics at that age. They don't care about right and wrongs. They want their freedom. They want to fly. Of course, health and safety is the priority for parents. Ensure that they are safe at all time. Ensure that they don't mess around with their health. Healthy eating is something that you need to watch out. But otherwise, apart from these 3 factors, like their grades, their health, and their safety, other things, let them do whatever they want and let them be happy. Now, what is observed is children in their 9th grade, that is when they are like 14 years old, they drop in studies. That is very commonly observed. That kids do very well in their junior school, and in their 9th class they start struggling in academics. Now what we need to understand here is that all the physical changes start manifesting at that age. Boys have this hormone called testosterone, which is playing havoc in a boy's body, turning all his fats into muscles. He's growing in a very lanky manner. His voice is changing. And in case of girls, it is the puberty. It is the estrogen and progesterone which is being released in the body. And she's developing all sexual secondary characteristics in her body. So these things distract a teenager a lot. And they find it difficult to concentrate at that time. They are very awkward with themselves because their sexuality is developing. And this awkwardness, interferes in their academics. And, they are constantly flooded with thoughts. They are very unsure of themselves. And they find it very difficult to concentrate sometimes. And that is the time that parents are in their worst behavior. There's a lot of shouting, a lot of scolding, a lot of, insulting, like you're good for nothing and you will never do well, and I expected so much out of you and you're disappointing me. All these dialogues are happening from the side of the parents because they are in a state of panic. 10th class is coming, board exams are coming, and all my life I worked so hard for her studies, and now that it is so important to score and she's falling down in studies, so all the work that I did all these years went in vain. So parents have their own take in the situation. Mothers say that I sacrificed so much, I left my job, all kind of explanations, all kinds of, I hear it all the time, that parents are heartbroken that we are doing so much for our children and they are not studying. Now parents, I want to tell you that 9th and 10th is not decisive. There are many more opportunities that these children are going to find in life to become successful. Secondly, marks are not a benchmark for anybody's IQ or anybody's, worth, I must say. So just chill and treat this as a problem. I agree, it's a problem. Your child is not scoring and it's a problem. So what are the possible solutions? We need to get into a problem-solving mechanism instead of blaming. So what are the solutions? The solution is encourage the child. Your child is not motivated. Encourage the child. Set realistic goals. Understand the capacity of your child. If your child is capable of 75 marks, 75% with all his efforts, maybe push him to 78%. Don't ask him to bring 95% just because your neighbor's child is bringing. So set realistic goals. Encourage the child. Sit and talk to your child. See that which are the subjects that he's finding difficult. So put in tuitions only in those subjects. Don't push him onto a tuition center saying, oh, do all the 10 subjects there because you're not studying. Don't generalize. He may be scoring good in few subjects. He may be scoring bad in few subjects. Just focus on the subjects where he's struggling. Help him out. If he's not able to concentrate, draw a chart for him saying this time you'll study, this time you'll play. Help him with his studies. Sit with him. Even if you're unable to teach your child at that age, you just be around the child. It makes a lot of difference that mummy is at home. If you are out somewhere and the child is alone in the house and you expect the child to be studying, no. You need to keep a watch over these children. They need your presence around. They need to feel that you're around them. You're supporting them. So be around the child. Help the child if you can, that is. And encourage and motivate and tell him that you can do better. Tell him that it's okay. One particular test is not decisive. Be at peace at that time. Keep your calm. That will help the child. Criticizing, shouting never helps the situation. The child may go worst. And it becomes a very bad circle then. So if a child is demotivated, again the same solution. Be tolerant, be patient, be empathetic. Sit and talk to your child. Tell him that physical changes are normal. It's a process of growing up. Don't body shame your child. Don't keep talking how tall he is, how dark he is, how fair he is. Don't discuss the way he looks to him because he's already awkward about it. So just help your child. Low grade is actually a call for help. He's not requiring your lectures and your scoldings and your discouraging statements like you're good for nothing and you're lazy. He's not asking for criticism. He's asking for encouragement. So just As I repeat, just be mature, be an adult at that position and hold your child's hand. We do hear all the time from parents that teenagers don't communicate much in the house. ये बोलता नहीं है, कोई गेस्ट आते हैं तो ये अंदर चला जाता है, ये हमारे बीच नहीं रहता है, ये हमारे साथ बाहर आना पसंद नहीं करता है. So what is observed many a times that children get into a shell at that age. They don't like to socialize or speak. They like to be just with their gang. They will be very normal with their friends. But they don't like to be chatting and talking with their parents and their relatives and their neighbors. They take to silence. And they like to be with themselves. They want their space. So parents get very disturbed by this teen behavior, which is very normal, and they get into a complaining mode, and they sometimes force these teens that you are the child of the house, you have to come out and speak to people, you have to sit and speak to us, you're not sharing anything, we don't know what's happening in your life, where do you go, what do you do, come and tell us everything. And teen is not ready for that. He's not ready. Some even mothers, try to spy on their mobiles. So the teens have to put the lock. So parents, this is absolutely normal behavior. As I said, teens are discovering themselves. They are in a process of building their personality. They are not comfortable dealing with strangers. They are very shy. They don't know how to begin a conversation. They are socially awkward. They are still not very well trained to handle social life. It's a process of learning. They're not going to remain like this for the rest of their life. They will speak where it is necessary. But right now, they are not comfortable. That's all it is. So let them be. Why push them into areas where they are not comfortable? Like children bring their girls to these Garba nights and they want the girls to dance just like the other girls are dancing. And some girls are awkward. They don't like dancing. They're not comfortable dancing. So you have to respect that. You just have to respect your teen. They are not there to fulfill your aspirations. They are there to live their life. So if a teen is not comfortable doing something, please don't push the child, because that will make him more stubborn. That will make him a rebel. That will, make him turn against you, saying my parents don't understand me. They may develop phobias. They may develop panic attacks. They may totally get into a shell. And that's not right. So, if a child wants a space, give him a space. Most of the time they want their own rooms. Give it to them. They don't like that you enter their room without asking them. So please knock and, ask them, can I come in? I want to talk to you. Can I sit and have a chat with you? This is how a teen needs to be treated at home, with total respect. And to talk to him, as I said, you have to develop some communication skills, your listening skills. Absolutely no lecture. Teens don't appreciate lecture. They already know everything that you're going to tell them. You have become predictable for them. They know, if I do this, my mom is going to do that. She's going to say this. So there's nothing new in, giving a lecture to a teen. You've already said everything in the past. You're only repeating yourself, which is very boring, because teens have no patience. They're restless guys. They don't have patience. You can't have a long conversation with teenagers. You have to keep it short, keep it brief, be to the point, and just convey whatever you want to convey. And if they want to answer in monosyllables, it's fine. Accept it. So It does not going to affect their future. It's not going to affect their career. Don't think they will turn into introverts. Wherever they want to accomplish something, they want to, become a success at something, and if it requires speaking, they will speak. So many of the introverts, later become very good film stars, become like marketing honchos. There's so many people I hear that they were introverts as a child, but they grew up and became media people. They became journalists, where they required to speak a lot. So these things have no connection. What your child is going to eventually do in life has no connection to what he is in his teenage years, because he's developing. He's going to change. As I said, it's a transition period. So don't push your children. Let them be. I repeat again, let them be happy. Let them be at peace. Help them developing their self-confidence instead of destroying it. Parents. Parents also have a lot of issues with children mixing with opposite sex and, finding that special friend, or what they term it as having an affair. So there is a lot of problem in the society regarding to this topic, though nobody discusses it. The fact is that because of the social networking, because of the WhatsApps, and because of the virtual chatting that children have access to, there are a lot of such relationships, a lot of such bondings, a lot of such clandestine associations which are happening all the time, especially with teenagers, because as we saw that they get into a shell, they get lonely, they are trying to build a self-esteem, they are trying to get acceptance in their peer group. So in this whole rigmarole, they also want the attention of the opposite sex, and they do have a method, a tool to reach out to them, that is the social networking. So it's very, very common now to see that children as young as 13, they have their special friend. They all have their one special person in their life, whom they just enjoy chatting with. And unfortunately, some parents spy on their children's mobile, and they find out. And then they go into trauma, because for them children are too young. For them, abhi bacche hain, they are bacche, So how can they do this? Because they think only adults, this is adult world. But the fact is that, as I said, it's a process of transition. The sexuality is developing. Children are non-sexual beings and adults are sexual beings. So in the transition, children are transforming from being non-sexual to sexual beings. So in the process, the opposite sex will attract them. They would be, they would like to hang out with the opposite sex. They would enjoy that one-to-one conversation with the opposite sex. These things are absolutely normal, and children should be given their space, their privacy. Their personal life needs to be respected, and you should just let them go through this whole process of, developing their sexuality and being comfortable with themselves. And parents must not, put too many rules on them, too many do's and don'ts on them, make them feel guilty for just being themselves, for being natural. I see a lot of parents, interfering, not giving children their space. Parents come to me saying that ये हमारे culture में नहीं है, और ये बच्चा पढ़ाई में गिर जाएगा, वो डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो जाएगा, और इफ़ वी अलाउ ऑल दिस वो बिगड़ जाएगा. These are the terms that I hear all the time. But actually in reality it's not true, because if these children have a close bond with someone outside the house, that only adds them to their happiness, their well-being. They study well in fact, because they have some prestige. They want to show their so-called special friend that they're good in studies. They have to maintain a certain behavior. They can't be cheap, they can't be freaks. So they in fact control themselves, and they boys become gentlemen when they have girlfriends. They become chivalrous, they understand women better, they come closer to their mothers in fact, and they study well because they don't want to fall down in the eyes of their girlfriends. They want to do well in life. So it becomes, having a special friend, it becomes a motivating factor in life to behave themselves. In fact, boys who are not having girlfriends become freaks. They become disoriented. They tend to do all kind of naughty activities, because there is an inborn frustration in them that everyone's having a girlfriend, I don't have one. So once they have a girlfriend, once they have that attention given to them which they are seeking, they really calm down and they start focusing on other things in life in fact. So the results of having such friendships is not negative. These really add value to your life. So the statement that बच्चे बिगड़ जाएंगे is not the right statement. And then they are not sexual at this age. Though their sexuality is developing, they're not interested in being sexually active. So there is nothing to worry about it. But having said that, as I said, parents should keep a close watch. There should be some lines drawn, some borders drawn. It has to be very clear in a teenager's mind that what is appropriate and what is inappropriate, what can be done and what should not be done. So those clear, because they are confused with rules. They don't know what is right, what is wrong, because nobody speaks to them. Nobody tells them this is okay and this is not okay. So that conversation should happen, saying that this is not okay, don't do this. But if you want to chat with someone, if you want to go meet with someone in a public place, that's fine. That's fine. So again, the safety part has to be taken care of. And emotionally, if a teen is happy, if a teen is close to you, if a teenager is not lonely and miserable, he will surely not fall into a wrong company. He will make sensible friends. There will not be a desperation in life to make friends, to find validation outside the house. If a teenager has understanding parents, so then there is nothing to worry about. And if a teenager wants to chat with someone, it's okay, but there has to be some limits. That's all I can say. That don't allow too much of late night chatting, and watch his grades. As long as he's not falling in studies, that is what children tell me. When I do counseling, I make it a point to talk to children, and they tell me, as long as we are bringing marks, what's the problem? We understand our responsibility. We are bringing our marks. We are studying. Only when we have spare time, we get into this chatting and this bonding and this association. So what's the problem? And trust me, I'm with them. They're right. They're not getting spoiled. They're not doing anything inappropriate. They're not doing anything illegal. They're just having a good time. And I don't think parents should have a problem with that. During these lockdown time, the corona times, there is another contemporary issue of children being addicted to their laptops, or maybe mobiles, or maybe television. So there is a lot of problem regarding children being addicted to social networking, addicted to chatting. You know, hospitals like Nimhans in Bangalore have got wards, it seems, where children or teenagers are getting admitted to get out of this, you know, mobile addiction, to deal with the withdrawal symptoms. So it's a very serious problem, which the teenagers, it is happening more with teenagers, you know, not much with the adult world, but with the teenagers, because as I said, teenage mind is restless. They want stimulation, they want excitement, they get bored very easily, they want some variety, they want to keep themselves getting stimulated all the time. So mobiles provide them with that. You know, they have unlimited access to anything they want to watch in this world. So this is a very worrying matter for the parents, that teens, if they get addicted to gadgets, then they drop in studies, they don't exercise, they don't sleep in the nights, and they're constantly watching the screen. Now I want to tell the parents that if you go back in 90s, 125 channels entered our drawing room very suddenly. We were watching Doordarshan before that, and we got 125 channels. So that time also there was a wave like this, that children are getting addicted to television, they don't study. But what happened later? That eventually our human brain got bored of it, and nobody was interested to watch those 125 channels anymore. So first of all, I have a very positive hope that all this is still new to us, and we will get over it, and not be obsessed and addicted to it. Having said that, another thing what we have to notice is that people who have spare time only indulge into this mobiles and laptops. You will never see a mother having an infant at home being addicted to any gadget. Or you will never see a research scientist sitting in his lab being addicted to a gadget. Or you will never see a cricketer, who's being addicted to a gadget. Or you will never see businessmen for whom time is money being addicted to gadgets. So the gadget addiction comes into the life when there is a vacuum inside, when there is an emptiness, when you don't have any goals, when you don't know where you're going, when you have nothing to look forward to in future, and you have a lot of time in the present to waste. And that is when you use these kind of YouTube videos and such things to fill the gaps. So teenagers have a lot to do, actually. They have not established themselves in life. They have to study, they have to learn, they have to develop, they have to build their bodies, going to a gym workout, getting up in the morning and do exercising. So they have a lot to do. So if they are properly guided, if they are properly motivated, if they are very clear cut in their goals, that I am this age and by this age I need to be there. If that clarity is there, they will never waste time in gadgets. They will very soon understand that sitting and watching YouTube in a computer, they are losing a lot, because for them the time is very limited. By, let us say, 23, 24, they all would have done their masters and they would have all started in their professions. So let us say by 15 to 24, you just have those 9 years. 15 years, you finish your 10th, and by 24, you're already full-fledged professional. So you have just those 9 years to do whatever you want to do in your life. Be it finding a life partner, be it building a good body, be it entertaining yourself, be it traveling around, be it educating around, so they have no time. Summer holidays is for students, it is time for tuitions. For college goers, summer holidays is a time for internships. And if they have more time, they can learn a new language. So there are so many things teenagers can pursue. So there should, according to me, if they are properly motivated, if they are very sure of where they want to go in life or what they want to achieve in life or where they see themselves 5 years from now, then they will not be at gadget addicts. They will not like to waste their time watching YouTube videos and making virtual friends. Such an issue should not come at all. These issues are coming because there is no guidance. The energies are not channelized of these teenagers. They are not told that, wasting time is not appropriate, not at this time. If you're sitting in your 50s and you're watching gadgets, you're watching YouTube, it makes sense. You have achieved, you have seen it all, done it all, but not a teenager. So if a teenager is getting gadget addicted, please look into the other areas of his life. That he may not be well motivated. Maybe he doesn't have mentors who are kind of guiding him, telling him what he must do. Or maybe he's depressed. Gadgets are kind of filling in that space of emptiness that he feels inside, loneliness. So please focus on how satisfied, how content and how happy he is in his life. There has to be something going somewhere wrong in his life that he's become a gadget addict. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So if a parent finds a teenager being a gadget addict, leaving his mainstream work, leaving his, all his hobbies, leaving his interests and becoming a gadget addict, then some kind of intervention is required. Someone has to sit and talk to the person about the other areas of his life, not to discuss his gadget addiction. Gadget addiction is just a symptom of his loneliness, of his, vacuum that he's carrying inside. He doesn't know where he's going. There's no pathway that he's following. Maybe he's given up on his ambitions. Maybe he's decided that he can't achieve anything. He's not good enough. So these are the factors, the negative thinking in a person's mind. That is what leads to gadget addictions. So it has to be taken seriously in case of teenagers and dealt with. Thank you. Now in this video, I have discussed all the possible problems that parents can face regarding the teenagers. And if you do have any questions regarding whatever I have spoken, you can post it in this video. You can write on the comment and ask me. Thanks a lot.
It's 2020 now, and a lot of people have started giving importance to mental health and how it affects students and how it affects a certain age group, and teenagers become a more important part of it, and it's they have started getting that attention that they need, and it's a very a slow process, but somewhere it's happening, and it's a very important step also. Because a lot of time people don't understand the importance that needs to be given, and as a teenager you sometimes lack or do not understand what these things are, and you don't know, even if you know you might have a perceived notion about it. You don't want to bring it up, you don't want to talk about it, because you don't know how the society is going to judge you and how your friends are going to judge you. And mind you, in teenage years, it's utmost importance of how you're being judged by your friends than being judged by say your teacher or your parents or someone else. So it makes a lot of difference. It's a very important thing that people understand the what students go through, what teenagers go through, especially in that 13 to 19 or 13 to 22 years, what kind of pressure they go through. And I'm here to talk on that little by little. We'll go and talk about it. What primarily becomes a very important and a challenging subject right now is bullying, especially cyberbullying. World over, you have seen, we see videos, a lot of videos where people take up stand, and there was this kid not a few months ago who was given this whose mother cried and said that he was getting bullied, and then a lot of people came in, a lot of celebrities came in, pitched in, gave their words of wisdoms, arranged a trip for them for Disneyland, and did a lot of things for that kid. And that kid was just 9 or 12 years old. He was not even in the teenage sector for that matter. But everyone goes through it. It's more now because of social media and how we perceive social media as a threat, and we see the harmful effects that it can be done. But let me tell you that cyberbullying was not something which was absent when I was a teenager 10 years ago, probably 10 to 15 years ago. It was still there. Back in 2007, we didn't have all these things that we have now, but we did have Facebook, we did have Orkut, we did have Google, we had Yahoo Messenger, we had chat rooms. A lot of bullying used to happen there also. I had people who who didn't like me, who couldn't stand up to me, who couldn't understand the idea of why I was who I was, and they would take it out probably on Facebook or Orkut, and make cheap drawings and caricature and share things which were offending. Probably they didn't know it then. They thought that it's just what we do, or what my seniors would do, or what my friends would do, and it is perceived as that, but they would not know how I got affected by it, or what I felt. In fact, I remember when I was in my third year, we were just leaving college, and we had our annual film festival. One of the guys that I didn't share a good rapport with probably in my college, but in third year we were pretty much close to each other, but he ended up making a movie, and they used my name. They used my surname, in fact, and as for a reference for a character who was, kind of not everyone likes him, and he just does everything to please his boss, and they try to reference that character as me, because they thought that I used to be like that. And what the name did was, with my surname being pretty unique, and no one else in my entire batch having that surname, when you take that surname, people immediately know who you're talking about, even if they don't if they don't cross the T's and dot the I's. I think it's pretty much understandable that they were talking about me, and it was a laughing matter for them, but I felt offended. Of course, I didn't stand up to them, because that's not what I was what's going in my head at that point of time. At that point of time, I just want to run away. But slowly you have to get accepted to that fact that things would get better, and I don't think so. I don't think things have improved on that front, but we are cordial now, and one fine day I will ask him what his motives were for that particular incident. I see him sharing a lot of thought-provoking and things against bullying, and things against how wrong and unjust these things are, and I can't help but laugh at it that he understands this now, or probably he doesn't. He just wants to be where the fad is, where the society wants him to be right now. But because if he did, he would have told me that what he did was wrong, which he hasn't till date. These are some of the few incidents that shaped my life, how it was. And In fact, now as I'm a teacher now, and I'm visiting faculty in many colleges, and I see students going through the same thing, hatred, bully, cyberbullying, because apparently there is a feeling that when you are a keyboard warrior. Okay, what these cyber bullies are known as keyboard warriors. Okay, they are behind a mask and they think that no one's gonna know who it is. No one's gonna do anything. People do this all the time. Everyone does this. Why am I being singled out? And so what? It's just fun. It's just a joke. What they don't realize is how it impacts the person that they are attacking. Not everyone is made up of iron, or not everyone is that hardcore and who would just let it go or won't do anything about it. Today's generation kids are even more stressed out because of this whole social media and being connected to everyone. So one bad video, one embarrassing video, one joke on them, and it could slide into a serious mental disorder. They might just slip into depression. They might not tell anyone. They might not talk to you. They might not give you notice, or they might do something horrible to themselves, which is entirely wrong. And this leads us to this whole section where this is where mental health and awareness about mental health should come into effect, because we need to be more empathetic towards what people are feeling, towards what people want, and how we can be better behaved with them. And rather than thinking that it's a fad, if people don't do this in college, when will we do? Boys are just boys, girls are just girls. These are things which don't matter. These are things which actually, frankly speaking, don't have a value in today's day. In today's day, having a strong mental aptitude is a big thing. People fight, college fights happen. When you're a teenager, you're born to make friends, lose friends, make friends, lose them again, make them again, reunite at your reunion, and cry with them at your farewell. All these things happen, but you need to. People have this. When you're a teenager, you're gonna make friends, lose friends, make them again, lose them again over the years. Not talk to them when you finished high school, get to the college years, finish your degree college, you'll be friends with them again, cry with them on your farewell, lose touch, meet them again, reunion. All these things happen, but if you are going through something, if you're affected mentally by what's happening on your social media, and if people are talking against you, and the girl you like doesn't talk back to you, she says something else, or the boy does that, and you're slipping into a place where you don't know how to get out of it, I think that's where you need friends. That's where you need someone who's gonna be there and look after you, who's gonna be understanding, who's gonna be understanding, and who knows what you're dealing with, and who knows how to take care of it. That's what matters. That's what makes it even more important to understand about mental health. Today we have these cases where majority of your teenagers and people 16 years old are committing suicides, and it comes out later that they are depressed and they are going through a patch, and they felt that nobody could understand them, which is true, and we are responsible for it, because we know that we are not doing enough. We know that they need to be protected. They need someone who can understand. Our basic instinct towards these kind of things is, it's just a phase, or it will pass off, you just have to do something else, just take your mind off and it will go away. It doesn't go away. The faster people realize this, the faster people try to understand that mental health is something very different. Mental health is associated with how deeply you live your daily life. As someone rightly said, mental health, depression is not something that have at 3 a.m. in the night. It's something that strikes you when it's a 3 p.m. and you're out with your friends laughing over a party, and it just hits you and you don't know, you feel all alone. That's what it is, and it's important to find that in teenagers and help them, give them the requisite help, give them every kind of support that we can, so that it does not manifest. it's not something, I do not believe it's something that you can just give a medicine for and you can get better. It's also depends on your conditioning, on people you are surrounding yourself with, people who help you, are there for you, you can count on them, you can vouch for them. All these things also make a difference. So mental health for me in today's age for teenagers becomes a very important thing, because if they are good today, if they are mentally sound today, their future is gonna be a more open and more easily accessible to them. But if they start slipping downward spiral into a zone in their teenage years, then it becomes very hard. It becomes very hard to catch them and bring them back to and tell them what a great gift this life is. And unless they understand it, unless they wrap their head around it, unless they get that feeling to live from within themselves, mental health can take them to a zone where it's very difficult to survive. I've had episodes of anxiety for the past couple of years, and I've been fortunate that maybe I didn't know, even if I had something in my teenagers, we were not that aware that what it is not. But now with so much information present and so much of knowing, we know that it's better to have someone, it's good to have someone, you need that someone who can get you through it. And that's why we need better facilities, we need parents to be more understanding, we need parents to be more empathetic towards their children. When they come up and say, if I'm going through something, they need to be supportive, they need to be able to hear it out. Even if they don't understand what this is, just hear them out, be with them. All, I think these are the things which will make a difference. And especially for teenagers, because this teenage years is something that defines their life. No matter what people say कि जिंदगी बहुत लंबी है and बहुत कुछ हो जाएगा, it's not like that. What happens now defines how you go ahead. So if you're able to have a good childhood, good teenage years, and not have to go through all the mental issues, and especially don't have to go through it all alone, it makes a lot of difference. So trust me, guys. This is what I feel, and I think we as a society, as an Indian society, we need to do a lot. We are doing good. It's not that we are not doing good. A lot of measures have been taken into place. Counseling at school and colleges have increased. There's more access to helplines and all those things. But we need to, as people, we need to do better. As a human being, we need to do better. We need to be more considerate. We need to be more helpful. We need to be more empathetic towards. We have to show empathy. We need to be there for people around us, and we can't just sit and not do anything about it. That's my take on. This is my take on mental awareness and how cyberbullying affects a lot of children, teenage years, and how it's very important that we fight against it and we do something about it, and we bring about a change, because we are the change. Unless we change, nothing's gonna change. It doesn't start with at home, it doesn't start in school, in colleges. It starts with yourself. You start it, and then you see the change, and then you work towards it. You change, someone else will change. Seeing you, they will change. That's the process. You gotta show, you gotta lead. Every day it's a fight. You gotta win that fight. You gotta lead, and you gotta bring the change home.
Today I would like to tell you about video game addiction among the youth. So, speaking about what is video game addiction and why and what makes it very, very significant. Video game addiction is what do you call it? Video game addiction is something that can be whose parallels can be drawn to a drug addiction as per WHO. It's like you are continuously motivated to play the game, and you are and in that process you completely cut off from your social life, from your family life, from your work life. If you are working, your very personal life discipline gets altered. Your life becomes completely sedentary in such a case. Game addiction. And then now I want to explain you why does game addiction takes place. Video game addiction takes place because if you play a game, the human brain is also active and it is producing dopamines, dopaminergic reaction as we call it. If you look at it from the neurological and neurophysiological perspective, dopaminergic reaction that takes place inside the human brain that continuously keeps the player motivated, Apart from that, video games are professionally made in such a way that there is a narrative built. So at a place where the narrative is built, the plot elements, the story elements, the game design elements are placed in such a way where the player is more interested to explore the game world even more. If it is a story driven video game, they would like to explore the story world even more. Okay. Apart from that, nowadays many video games have reward system. That means coin system. If you play a certain amount of level, if you play up to a certain amount of level, you get coins, you get rewards. So there is a reward mechanism that is taking place, and this helps to motivate the player to play the game continuously without stopping. Okay. Apart from that, there are other numerous reasons also I will be covering. Why do people play games continuously, and why do they get addicted to game playing? There I have also come across people, many of my students, who had I will say this might sound funny to you, but who had a breakup in their life. It seems their relationships didn't work, and to escape the trauma, the stigma after that, the aftermath process, they start playing games, to divert their mind. That's also one of the reasons that I have personally come across. And then I have seen them playing PUBG. Yeah. And of course in PUBG there is one more thing, that games like PUBG, multiplayer games like PUBG, what happens is that there is also a lot of social interaction happens with other players in real time. So there is a social life within the multiplayer games. Even that is also one of the reasons why people want to spend time in a video game with people in the digital world. So there is also a element of companionship which is evident in this case. You have people, basically you have people you like to play with, you like to talk to regularly. It's just like having friends going to play a cricket ball with your ball and bat regularly. So that same logic applies over here, the same psychology applies over here in this case. Another thing is that maybe people they will come and tell you that their life is very boring, so to escape that boring life, they get into the world of video gaming. Okay, to escape the boring life pattern. So some will say that they don't have any excitement in their life. They might have a very monotonous life. Those who are working in corporate sector, they love to play recreational video games because their corporate job is very, very monotonous. Many of them are, and in the gaming world, the story driven, especially in story driven games like BioShock, like Mass Effect, like Dragon Age Origins, if you have come across the platform games I'm talking about, story driven games, the player is motivated because they are being motivated, they are being rewarded, they are being recognized for their efforts. Within the game world, if you play as a character, if you play a character driven story, whatever you do, your actions, they get recognized much better than what happens in the real world. Are you getting me? So this is the reason why people get addicted to game playing. Story element, recognition element, motivation element. Remember these three aspects. And again, I told you the biological element, that is the dopaminergic reaction in the human brain. Remember this. And as I was telling you, now how to counter this game addiction, I think one thing that can be done is to motivate people in the real world, get them recognition in the real world. I think that will kind of counter that game addiction to an extent, I feel so. This is what my personal experience is, because I myself was game addict at one point of my time. So yes, there is also a level of maturity that comes with aging. As you age, as you grow up, your interest in video game also depletes over a period of time. Even this happens. Like there are many game players, there are many game players who used to be game addicts, but after they got married, they stopped playing video games, you know. I'm just telling you. So I feel that on one hand there has to be a lot of engagement in the real life, there has to be recognition, there has been motivation to participate in the real life. With that, I think video game addiction can be countered. And of course, continuously enforcement of self-discipline, motivating people to enforce a self-discipline in their life. That means giving a definite amount of time to real world tasks, and giving balancing a definite time for gaming could also help in this process, you know. So that's my opinion anyways, that's my opinion based on my observation. So there you go. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a nice day.